mother-daughter picture. Once again, to be able to see a woman who started out with a bit of money, lost everything with her husband, and built it back up herself, and was comfortable flapping those furs around her neck, you know, as easily as she was flapping pancakes in a restaurant.
Kathy Bates may have gotten a small dose of inspiration from Joan Crawford, but she's made today's fury all her own.
What's the matter? I'll tell you what's the matter. I go out of my way for you. I do everything to try and make you happy. I feed you, I clean you, I dress you, and what thanks do I get?
Oh, you bought the wrong paper, Annie. I can't write on this paper, Annie.
Well, I'll get your stupid paper, but you just better start showing me a little more appreciation around here, Mr. Man.
I feel like if I ever do start a production company, I guess I should call it Sledgehammer Productions, because I think every single character I've ever done has some kind of sledgehammer or hammer in her hands. I mean, all those roles do. I mean, Annie had a sledgehammer, and in Fried Green Tomatoes, Evelyn knocks the wall down with a sledgehammer, and Dolores has an axe.
You better sit back down, Joe. You don't want this in your head.
You know, I mean, so it's like, maybe I should have the hardware concession for all of those roles.
Excuse me, I was waiting for that space.
Yeah? Tough. Face it, lady, we're younger and faster.
Our mothers may have taught us that good girls don't talk back and they never lose their temper. But the movies have shown us the thrill of being impolite. How many times have you dreamed of doing that in real life? But that's what these movies are for. You men get the Terminator, and we women get Kathy Bates behind the wheel of a Ford.
Yes, ma'am!
Either way, it's a huge release for those of us out there in the dark.
What are you doing? Are you crazy?
Face it, girls. I'm older and I have more insurance.
Well, it was then I decided to make a living by my wits.
Too many girls follow the line of least resistance.
Yes, but a good line is hard to resist.
Let's play hard. Let's play smart. Use your head.
That's that lump 3 feet above our ass, right, Jimmy?
Now, are you going to mind your own business, or must I really give you a piece of my mind? Oh, I couldn't take the last piece.
She's the woman with the mouth and a know-it-all attitude. Talk about clever comebacks. She's got the best, and I've heard them all. She's the wisecracking dame who's been around the block and has plenty to say about it.
You're just another good-looking, sweet-talking, charm-oozing, happy fellow with nothing to offer but some dialogue. Dialogue's cheap in Hollywood, Ben. Why don't you run outside and jerk yourself a soda?
Nice chassis, huh, Joe?
Classy chassis.
Yes, and it's all mine, too. I don't owe any payments on it.
I'd be glad to finance it, baby.
Who do you think you're kidding? You couldn't even pay for the headlights.
You look beautiful.
You don't have to make leading lady dialogue for me. I'm a comic.
Oh, Barbara, you're wrong. If Omar Sharif is telling you you're beautiful, then you're definitely the leading lady. But some of the best wisecracking dames aren't. They started out as best friends, pals, sidekicks.
Watch this.
That's it?
Yeah, you can't do it, mate.
Do it. I could do it. Yeah, how long you been working on that, Doris?
That took me about a year. Not counting them 2 months I was in the hospital, bat hit me right in the head, bam. The buddy, the best friend, is really a wonderful, relatable role, and everyone feels more like the best friend than they do like the star. The beautiful, perfect, you know, body, face. Nobody really feels like that. If they did, they'd be modeling or trying to act. You know, most people feel like the best friend. The guy could be a crackhead, a transvestite, a flasher, a junkie, a chainsaw murderer, or someone really sick. Someone like my Rick.
She's likely to be the one who doesn't quite know when she should keep her mouth shut, and instead she says something, you know, kind of cynical or smart or a little too observant, you know, and then the guy says, oh, I don't want you.
They're either married or gay. And if they're not gay, they've just broken up with the most wonderful woman in the world, or they've just broken up with a bitch who looks exactly like me.
Oh, boy, men really have this game beat. For 2,000 years, we have had their children, washed their clothes, cooked their meals, and cleaned their houses. And what did they give us in return? The right to smoke in public. We sold out for a cigarette. And you don't even smoke.
these dames or wisecracking babes never themselves actually get men. They just hang around pointing out that men are trouble. Or sometimes that they would like to have men, but they don't get them. Now, that was a lesson to us all. Don't be too funny. You're not going to get the man. This was a lesson I didn't learn.
Will you try for once in your life to be a lady?
If they wanted ladies, they'd be home with their wives.
Oh, yeah?
Did you get her innuendo? I've always hated
Of course we did. It was hard to miss. Rosalind Russell played her share of second bananas, but when she got the chance to bring her wry wit center stage, she proved to be one of the fastest-talking, wisest-cracking dames ever captured on film.
Now get this, you double-crossing chimpanzee. There ain't going to be any interview, and there ain't going to be any story. And that certified check of yours is leaving with me in 20 minutes. I wouldn't cover the burning of Rome for you if they were just lighting it up. And if I ever lay my two eyes on you again, I'm going to walk right up to you and hammer on that monkey skull of yours till it rings like a Chinese gong.
Only a handful of film's funniest women have made the transition from sidekick to leading lady. One of the best led in a decidedly daring direction.
When I was born with this face, it was the same as striking oil. I've got the face of a saint. On the level it ain't paid. Beware of these eyes. I'm a devil in disguise. And they call me Sister Honky Tonk. Get over
When Mae West first strutted on screen in 1932, audiences couldn't believe what they were seeing. It wasn't so much what she said as the way she said it.
I like sophisticated men to take me out.
Well, I'm not really sophisticated.
Well, you're not really out yet either.
I see a man in your life.
What, only one?
Mae West, how funny. How great to be able to have that kind of brazen courage and make everybody laugh by showing those kind of things that maybe we're not supposed to say we think. Great.
Baby, I promise you anything.
Yeah, but would you keep it?
You want me to swear?
Never mind, I can do that myself.
She could do everything herself. There were men, but who remembers them? Mae's real co-star was the audience.
Ruby, I must have you. Your golden hair, your fascinating eyes and alluring smile and lovely arms, your form divine.
Wait a minute. Is this a proposal or you take an inventory?
Well, the way she would say something like, you know, is that a banana in your pocket? Are you happy to see me? It wasn't just the fact that she said it, but then the fact that she went like this that made it so daring.
Mm-hmm. I'll be ready. Goodbye.
She's the initiator of sex, and yet she's not really sexy in the way that a lot of stars are. She's making fun of sex and enjoying sex, but she's not really a love object. She's all subject. She's really the boss.
Why did you admit knowing so many men in your life? Well, it's not the men in your life that counts, it's the life in your men.
You know, she was always a loose woman. There was always a subplot, you know, involving, you know, was she just a little too sluttish for the leading man? And she never was. You know, somehow or another, she always came out on top.
Well, when I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better. Oh, they call me Sister Honky Tonk. I gotta scram now.
Audiences loved the laughs, but the powers that be lacked a sense of humor.
In a sense, she was responsible for the wrath of the Hayes office and the production coach. Supposedly, Mary Pickford heard the lyrics of one of her more obscene songs and called up William Randolph Hearst, and he got a newspaper protest going, and they had these rules on paper, but now they put teeth in them, and then movies were never the same since.
Censorship had signed a long-term contract with Hollywood.
Sick of people worrying about what I do.
Mae West's big heyday, of course, was pre-code, but even in pre-code, she was considered pretty racy and was constantly having battles with the censors, both in her stage career and her film career, and ultimately it was sort of the downfall of her.
Mae West, I want to ask you one thing. What is your greatest ambition?
My greatest ambition? Well, if you come up and see me sometime, I'll let you know.
Mae West was famous for that exit line. 3 decades later, a new dame, who broke just as many rules, would become just as famous for her entrance.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, gorgeous. And you know, that's what she said when she won the Academy Award, and it was a tie that year for Funny Girl. She picked up the trophy and she said, hello, gorgeous. Not that I'm like a Barbara freak or anything. I mean, I think the thing about Barbra Streisand that made it easy for me to relate to her was she didn't look like a typical beauty that you saw in the movies, although I thought that she was the most beautiful woman I ever saw in my life. And she sounded like me, and she has sort of had the similar cadence to people I grew up hearing, and I felt as though, like, one of us could become that, and that gave me hope to know I could do that.
It's too easy. That's what's got me scared. I mean, where's all the suffering you're supposed to do before you click? And the hard knocks? And the setbacks you're supposed to learn from? This is too quick. I haven't suffered enough yet.
That movie had really changed my whole life. I was the only, like, third grader who knew every single song. Little kids would be show and tell going, this is a calculator, here's my Barbie doll, you know, and I'm going, don't tell him not to live, just sit and puddle. I mean, I really found it inspiring, and I still do.
When the wisecracking dame takes center stage, there's almost no room for anyone else.
Yes. He wants me to tell you what he's saying word for word.
Molly, you're in danger.
Now, you can't just blurt it out like that. And quit moving around, will you? Because you're starting to make me dizzy. I'll just tell her in my own way. Molly, you in danger, girl.
60 years after Mae West sashayed into our lives, Whoopi Goldberg is proving there's no one more durable than the Dame.
Whoopi is the closest descendant of Mae West with less sexual license. She doesn't have that aura of sexual potency and glamour. She's not permitted to have it, though mostly it's the audience's romance with her charm, more than her romance with any of the male characters. And that's probably what links her to Mae West, the audience's relationship with her.
Well, Rita, it looks like you'll be withdrawing $4 million from us today.
$4 million?
Say yes. Say yes. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. That's correct.
Easy, easy. Well, how would you like that?
10s and 20s.
You gotta love the Dame. She never follows the rules. She's funny without being cute, sassy without being angry. She's smarter than everyone else in the room, but she's too much of a dame to brag about it. She makes us think, but she gets away with it because she makes us laugh.
Oh, really? Now we're getting down to it.
I will not fight with a lady.
I am no lady when I fight.
She's no lady. She's the heroine. She's a risk taker and a lifesaver, and if the cause is right, she'll go out on a limb for anyone.
Come on!
She's all woman, but when push comes to shove, she'll hike up her skirts and get down to business.
All right, put him up.
The need for a movie to have a hero is so much more overwhelming than almost any other art form.
But the hero isn't always a man in a white hat with a gun saying, "Make my day." In the movies, as in life, very often the hero is a heroine.
We found that it doesn't pay to sympathize with the crack-up.
What makes you think anybody's gonna crack up?
I don't think you'll prove any different from anybody else.
You've got a lot to learn.
I hope so.
Just don't take us for a bunch of softies.
Movies have shown women on the front lines of battle and on the plains of the Wild West. But for decades, these films were the exception. The heroine usually shows her courage in a less physical way.
I think women are different. We have different purposes. We see things differently. Our intellect works differently. And I think that does give us certain strengths that men don't have.
And very often, women's strength comes across in their willingness to fight for their families.
She didn't hear one word I say. She doesn't hear you run now.
Now, you know that happens, Norma Ray. It happens all
Well,
the
it
time.
doesn't happen to my mama.
It'll pass off. Just temporary.
Oh, well, that makes it okay. She's only deaf for 1 hour. She's only deaf for 2 hours. She's only deaf all day.